Bigger than a hell rain, moves like you hurt on the decks. Glover hold the court and give the chief no suspect. Politics in the mix, like Gumbo Stewart Rich. Spinning tales from Black Wall Street, real life's the pitch. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news.
Welcome to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. How you doing, man?
Man, feeling well, man.
What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you're a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17 Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh, yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out and fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
Yes, sir.
We got more than we can use. We got more than we can handle ourselves. We try to let it flow. Let it flow to the next person.
Yeah. We're proud of you, man.
Thank you.
And we're proud of your son.
Thank you.
You're watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
This six hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse, dropping wisdom like Hova. Each word a joke. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to gains. Donnie the narrator, truth runs in veins. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Mr. Haney, why you look so excited? Tell me what you're doing. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Mr. Bob, how you doing? Danny?
Fred and Midland, Donnie, how you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Doing good. Doing good. Danny?
Hey, good morning, and once again, congratulations on your graduation, my brother.
Oh, to God be the glory.
You know it.
Danny, what happened to Ufoma out there in Baltimore County? Ruben Amaya. Didn't the black people lift up Ruben Amaya?
Look, man, I don't even know what happened with that. I don't know what happened with that outcome. I really don't.
What the heck do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. I know they had to vote yesterday. So you telling me Ruben succeeded? Is that what you telling me?
Oh, that's the word. I'm trying to get the update, brother.
I'm waiting on a text back now.
Okay, well, I'm making a call as we speak. Mike Haney, we can't hear you. We cannot hear you.
I'll send him a text and let him know.
He's looking cute, but we can't hear him. So, Danny, what else is happening in Baltimore County?
Big meeting tonight at the Randallstown Community Center. It's our redistrict meeting, and the county is going to be out there at a final Baltimore County redistricting hearing tonight at the Randallstown Community Center from 6 to 8. So be great if you can get out here, Donnie. You get the hot news on what's going to happen with this map that's being presented by the one by the county council, one by the ACLU, and one by the Woodlawn approach map.
Well, you already know what the deal is.
Well, what do you mean I already know what the deal is?
Danny, you know who has the votes. We don't have to wait till the end to know what the numbers are.
Well, you know, it's going to tell. Let it run its course. But you know as well as I know that the votes that they had, even to get the two more, with the 3 Republicans and the 2 Democrats, which made it the majority, right? So if they use those, if they get those same votes, then they'll be able to choose the map they want.
What do the white people want, Danny?
They don't want the Woodlawn approach. I tell you that. They want to downsize the the power in Northwest Baltimore County. So
what in the world is this Barry O'Connell all about? You know, I never knew he was such a good writer.
Oh, wow. Oh, you mean the article that I sent you? That was great, wasn't it? That's a great article. I'm going to send it to you, Mr. DeShields. How you doing, sir?
Fine. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing pretty good.
I don't think that Barry O'Connell can write that well.
Well, he certainly put it out there, though.
I think his granddaughter wrote that to him because he's never been that articulate.
Man, it was written very well. And it was
never been that articulate. And he came after me. What did he say about me? What did Barry O'Connell? Oh, he called me an anti-Semite, anti-Semitist. Tell him my ancestors come from Africa. That's where Christianity, Judaism, and Islam come from. The original. You know, that's like you having on Jack Purcell's and somebody got on some supermarket tennis shoes and they telling you yours ain't real.
You read it? Well, I had those. Those are shoes that I had when I got to Baltimore. I couldn't. My father definitely wasn't buying no Jack Purcell's. We had those blue things, whatever they called it.
What they wear down there on the Eastern Shore, Mr. Bob?
We went barefoot.
Golly.
We didn't believe in shoes until whoever had them, the feet got too big and they could pass them down, and they couldn't cut out the toes anymore because it would stick out too far. So they passed them down to the next generation. So I never owned a pair of Jack Purcell's.
Mike,
Did you
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, we can hear you now. What you wear? Jack Purcell's or them supermarket tennis shoes?
What'd you say?
Did your mother get you Jack Purcell's or PF Flies?
Converse.
Wasn't no daggone Converse.
That's New York thing. That's what we grew up on. Converse.
Canvas Converse. Hey, Donnie, I got to tell you, congratulations, man, on your degree. I mean, that is just absolutely, I cried when I saw you in that role, knowing your mom, dad have gone on, and they would have been proud of you. So I'm just substitute mom and dad expressing gratitude for you having persistence and fortitude to do what it is. I know they would have been proud of seeing you, man. Unbelievable.
Appreciate that. Andy, what happened to Ufoma?
That's what's up.
There you go.
My fault. I'm having internet issues. Hold on 1 second. Let me restart. I'm gonna come right back.
All right.
I just wanted to see who was gonna have running in the background.
Say it again.
I said I just wanted to see what figure would have running in the background.
Well, that's interesting you should say that because I ran across a really great picture And I said to myself, I'm going to change my virtual background when I saw this picture. And you have just inspired me. I'm going to put this picture up. I think it's probably one of the greatest pictures I've ever seen. So recently, if you go to Be More News, you'll see a picture of Wes Moore up there. But it's not just Wes Moore. I think it's just the greatest picture ever, man. Wes Moore. There you go. How you like that picture?
Okay, President Morgan. President Morgan. Who I see.
Chair Morgan's Board of Regents and the mayor of Baltimore.
Mike, isn't that a powerful picture? Mr. Bob.
Yeah, it's a real powerful picture. Very powerful picture. Mr.
Bob, this person I really adore said that black people don't have no power. This is a white man's world.
Who said that?
I can't tell you.
Well, you know what? That unfortunately, that is the spoken or unspoken belief of most people, black and white, in my opinion.
Mike Haney, is this a white man's world?
Yeah, it is. If you don't believe me, ask the state legislature, particularly the Black Caucus, their feeling about the veto of the reparations bill recently, and what influenced that. Okay?
Got that right.
The largest black caucus in the nation, and y'all telling me this is a white man's world.
Because
God's world, white people make up 15, 12% of the population. The majority of the world is non-white. Now, I don't know where these people get this from. I done been to Africa, I done been to the Middle East, and I don't hear other people saying that. I don't hear Indians saying, this white man's world.
Donnie, you're using the wrong metric. You're using skin color, and I'm referencing beliefs. It's a difference. Beliefs are based upon perception as much as reality. So you're basing it just the numerical value based upon skin color. I'm basing upon what I believe to be what's in the heart and minds of the majority of people, regardless of skin color.
What do you think, Danny?
On the materialistic value.
Come on, Brooklyn.
It's a mindset, man. I believe if people have a shift in their thinking, things could be different. But the reality is that they hold all the cards.
Hold all the cards.
Mr. Haney talked about that reputation. They hold the cards, man. They do hold the cards.
You got to be out your mind. Have you traveled? Do you have a passport?
We're talking about, you said in America right here, right? You said in the United States of America, right?
I said, is this a white man's world?
In the United States of America, it's white man's world.
Well, you can say that because we are outnumbered. But then how do we expect the people, black people in America, who is 15% of the population, what do you expect us to do?
Pull together.
I say we do have power. The words say we got power. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. So I'm trying to say, where do black people come up saying, oh, this is a white man's world? Can any white man make that sun come up every day?
Well, you talking about spiritual, and we're talking about cardinal. Which one are you talking about?
Go sit down.
You talking about spiritual or cardinal?
Brother, power.
If black folks actually come together,
nothing. Shameful. educated black people leading our people. No wonder we in trouble. Oh, this is a white man's
We're not
world.
talking.
Where they get this foolishness from?
Because that's what we and everybody else has been taught for generations.
Come
We,
on,
we
man.
we've been taught, Donnie. I don't know if you can hear me, but we've been taught that.
Well, hey, Bob, when Bob, you speak for yourself. Use I statements. Don't use we. I don't want to be
No,
part of your we.
I use we. I use we because but I mean you can exclude yourself, but the black people I know were taught that. Okay, the ones that the majority of black people, everybody that went to school with me was taught that. So and we didn't go to school together, so I would say that. But everybody that went to school with me was taught that white people were in charge. Not just that they were in charge, but they were destined and intended to be in charge, and the situation would forever remain that way. That's what I was taught. How was I taught that? I was taught that by the drinking fountains that said colored people drink this fountain, white people drink that fountain. How was I taught that? I was taught that by being able to only go to movies that had a balcony and restricted me to be to sitting in that balcony. I was taught that by having a swimming pool, a park that for me that was a mud hole with a jungle gym, and a park that for white folks had a zoo and a swimming pool. I was taught that by the scores of black people who were denied even the right to vote, to choose who the leadership would be politically anyway, at a time, or charge $5 as a poll tax or other mechanisms to deny or restrict our right to vote. I was taught that by the lie that was told in school about Christopher Columbus discovering America when he never stepped foot in even the North American continent. I was taught that by many ways. So yes, I'm not surprised. And when I say that I'm not surprised that today, most people that I know still believe, and that when I say most people that I know, I mean black and white, still believe that white folks' ice is colder. Now that's my belief. That's my perception based upon the world that I live in. I'm not speaking for anybody else, and I don't pretend. I don't profess to be. But that's the world that I live in.
I never got those lessons growing up. I grew up in Haiti, where we don't idolize the white man. The few folks who do idolize the white man, they just have something else wrong with them. They have a serious level of self-hate that you can't really help. But I never grew up thinking that, oh yeah, white people are this great, this bad, this great. Actually, I grew up learning that white people should not be trusted.
And they can't be
Well,
trusted.
that's a different issue. That's a different issue. Go ahead.
Yeah, idolizing. I don't think no blacks really idolize whites. The reality of whites being in charge, and have, the laws and this, that, and the other. But, if you talk to most black folks, they wouldn't look at white folks in that way of idolizing them at all.
Well, idolizing them and thinking they're in charge are two different things. The question, there's two questions. One, who's in charge? And two, how are they supposed to be in charge? And number three, will they forever remain in charge? Those are three separate questions.
I live down here in Sandtown, and a white man, and I'm just going to call it like I see it, and I'm going to tell you why. Fox News talked about the squeegee kids until there are no more squeegee kids. So I'm going to talk about these white addicts in the black neighborhood until there are no more. Last night, a white guy, late night, don't ask me for nothing late night. Nothing. It's dark. You should have got it early. Asked for some change. Asked for 50 cents. I don't carry no cash. But I told him he should be ashamed of himself. And Donald Trump should be ashamed of himself. Got all these poor white people down here begging in the black community, chasing dope. It's a damn shame. And somebody should say something about it. It ain't normal. Shooting dope in public, sleeping in vacant buildings burning down, vacants squatting in the black community. It's egregious. And then they say the Pope is black. What's that about, and Andy? Big ups to Haiti. Thank God for Haiti, for Toussaint Louverture, for Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Henry Christophe. And what was that man from Jamaica? Bookman. Jamaican, fought in the Haitian Revolution.
Well, wait a second, Donnie. If white people weren't in charge, why did Haiti have to pay for its own freedom?
Because they whipped that ass so
Because we
bad.
killed a lot of them. We killed so many of them. They were really mad.
Yeah. Well, my point is we need to disaggregate our opinions and the basis for because we can give the wrong impression of what our beliefs really are. I understand that in journalism, particularly in broadcast media, we operate in snippets and sound bites and so forth. But I think that if we are to educate our people, we have to slow it down. We have to not dumb it down. That's insulting. But we have to slow it down and put it in a form that people can understand it. I think that's our job. I think that's our responsibility.
When the
if that takes more than an hour, it takes more than an hour.
Okay. Well, today at 10:30, I'll be talking to the PhD program, but I can go till 10:25.
All right.
But the Haitians did what no black people in the Western Hemisphere did. What did they do, Andy?
We cut their heads off and burned their houses down. Pushed them out of our country. Took it back.
And that's the same thing the United States did in getting away from Britain.
Mm-hmm.
They beat up their
down the ships.
They beat up their abuser.
Well, they did it to the Indians too when they got here.
And
the Indians should have did it.
And they used black people to do it. It was black soldiers.
Buffalo soldiers. That's right.
Buffalo Soldier. That's who won the West. So when I see them cowboy movies, it's like, where the black people at?
Andy, who won that election last night with the Young Dems?
Well, Ruben Amaya won. The circumstances under which he won is very interesting. Let's put it to you like this: we have no idea who was counting the votes. Rumor has it somebody from his slate was on the vote count committee.
Wow.
We have no idea where the link to the vote went, because they required everybody to be in person to vote, but yet gave people a Google link to vote, to scan the QR code. So that link could have ended up anywhere in the state. And they're not giving up the numbers. So we actually have absolutely no clue how many.
Wow.
What the vote count was, how many votes that a former got, how many votes that got. The only thing that I was told was that, Ruben won by 55 to 45%. Are you telling me that Ruben beat her by 10 points in that room? Okay.
Oh my good.
But you're not willing to give up the data. You're not being willing to be transparent. It's a Google Drive. It's a Google form. So what's the changelog look like? How many entries came in? What are the IP addresses for each entry? How many people who weren't in the room voted? Because you're supposed to be in the room to vote. But that aside, I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. Congratulations, young brother. Young Ruben, and congratulations to the Young Dems and the Baltimore County slate that passed through. But at the end of the day, all of that whining over spilled milk, I ain't here for that. Because listen, all I did was lay out a comparison showing that your guy just wasn't cut for it. Now, at the end of the day, you can cry about it all day, or you can prove me wrong. You chose to steal the election. That's fine.
Well, Andy, Andy, let me get a word in. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the black people of Liberty Road who empowered Ruben Amaya in the first place. Because the same black people on Liberty Road that empowered Ruben Amaya are going to be voting for the next county executive.
So who are the people out that way who voted for empower Ruben? Who were they?
He lost that election bad, dog. Ain't nobody vote for him to empower him.
No, he lost that election bad. But Donnie is saying that he was empowered because he was appointed on the executive board for the Maryland Democratic Party, and someone empowered him out in this area for sure. So who was that, Donnie?
Well, you on the state central committee out there. You the one count the votes better than me.
We had nothing. We had not. Well, we had nothing to do with that. Absolutely
Didn't y'all
not.
running for state
And any
central
of the
committee?
say it again.
Didn't y'all run
What'd
him
you
for
say?
state central committee?
As a young dem, no, as a college dem. Yes, as a college dem. Yeah.
There you have it.
Yeah. No, it's not. No, that's not how it is. He did not win when he ran for the delegate out here at all. So when I'm
But y'all
saying he
began
did
his
get
journey.
it.
Y'all put him on
Well,
the
I
track.
mean, you can't turn folks down, Donnie. Come on now.
So
But
my real
what I'm
question
saying
is,
is,
where
how did he get to the Maryland Democratic Party, Donnie?
oh, that's fine. I'm just asking, where are the black people? Where are the young black people out Liberty Road who should be empowered? Where are they?
Absolutely.
We want to be a part of this.
Good morning. My name is Ruben Maya, and I'm running to be your next president of YDM. I'm the child of undocumented immigrants who traveled over 3,000 miles with just the clothes on their backs, who avoided the cartels and braved the current of the Rio Grande River, fighting to pursue the American dream. Today, as citizens, they always instilled in me that just because you start with nothing does not mean you have nothing to offer. But today, we live in a time where the Trump administration is erasing that very dream. And so many young people today have lost hope in that dream or never believed in it to begin with. But I'm standing here today to say that dream is something we can never, ever give up on. I have fought for criminal justice reform, better representation in our schools.
All right, so I had enough of that. Listen, didn't the
Gotta hear
Latinos
the other
vote?
side too.
Me too.
Didn't the Latinos vote for Donald Trump?
They
Didn't the
did.
Latinos overwhelmingly vote for Donald Trump?
You said how many
They
Latinos
did.
overwhelmingly voted for Donald
I
Trump?
said, didn't the Latinos vote for Trump? Mr. Trump, we love you, Mr. Trump.
Oh, that sounds like Tim Scott. I thought he was gonna kiss him in the mouth. In fact, I think he did kiss him in the mouth.
I shared that to show so that so that y'all can see the contrast, right? Because that's pretty much how the whole day went, where you'll hear these blazing speeches that are full of fire and fervor, and then you'll
It's
hear,
full of crap.
"Oh, my mommy swam across the Rio Grande."
Yeah, that's bad.
No, what's
Right.
bad is we don't have a young black voice speaking up for us. All of that wealth out of Liberty Road, Randallstown, Owens Mills, Woodlawn, y'all pay for Baltimore County. Your
You're right about
mortgages
that.
are larger than most people. You paid for Baltimore County.
Let's put it to you like this: there's certain things about how things went down yesterday that pissed me off in the sense of they had this thing at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. I don't know how many responsible black
Oh my
kids
God, that's
that
to
aren't
make
going to
sure
be
black
at church.
people don't show up.
Hmm?
The Lord's Day. 10
That's to
a.m.
make sure
on a
black
Lord's
people
Day.
don't set up. That's a white people,
10 a.m. on a
historic white
Sunday.
people move.
It's
In
too many.
Lanham,
It's
there's
too
not
many
a bus
people
stop in
talking at the
sight.
same time.
Sorry.
There's too many people
So-
talking at the same time. I'm not having a hard time deciphering who's saying what.
All right. I'll go. So 10 a.m. on a Sunday, the Lord's Day, at Lanham, where there is no bus stop in sight. You can't say that wasn't calculated.
Who allowed this?
Hmm?
Who allowed this?
Who allowed it?
Yeah.
There's their board.
Was it the Maryland Democratic Party?
What's the difference between the Maryland Democratic Party and Donald Trump? What's the difference? Black people get it treated crappy in both instances.
Now you're singing my song. Now you're singing my song. Now you're singing the song that says we need God bless the child who got their own. That's what's missing.
And that's why we
The
still
thing
going
is,
through what
like,
we're
it's like
going
the
through.
parties want us to be a part of the parties, but just as a warm body, not necessarily as leaders.
Not
Right.
even as a warm body. Just want the votes. You can leave your body home. Leave your
Mm.
voting pad with me.
hmm Like this whole thing, that whole election should have been a online Zoom type situation where everybody gets to vote, everybody's on, everybody gets access, and everybody can participate. But they made it saying something like, "Oh, you're required to be here in person to vote." I'm expecting the paper ballot. They're giving out a freaking QR code with a Google link. So I have no idea who actually voted, who was in the room, and who voted, who wasn't in the room.
So even though we got a black governor, we don't control jack. See, that's what I'm talking about. That symbolism means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it means something, but it means only it stands for only for what it stands for. It's symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look beyond the symbolism. You got to look beyond the skin color. You got to. That's why we use these. We got to stop using words loosely, throwing them around like black. Right. We got to stop throwing these words around as though they have a uniform, consistent, and meaning to everybody who uses them, because they don't. I tell
Mm-hmm.
people say to me, he's liberal, he's conservative. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that I can predict without fail his position on whatever issue that I think is important to me? Of course, it doesn't mean that. So then what's so important about the label? Whose interest is it to put the label on us in the first place? And how are we manipulated simply by what people call us, by the label they pin to us? Nobody's talking about those kind of issues. We got to get back to basics, Donnie. As my old friend, not my friend, but as I used to listen to him all the time, Joe Madison used to say, we got to put it down where the goats can get it.
Well, they put down the Preakness, the 150th on Saturday, and they had Andy. I don't know what word, Andy, you got on the Preakness, but I know they had a tent out there for the governor on the infield right next to Afro Preak. And let me tell you something. The way these Negroes act when they become gatekeepers is worse than the most racist of white people. They were out there checking people's ID. These people have paid $250, $300 to go to the infield. And then they hire a $5 an hour security guard. Oh, let me see your ID. Let me see your, oh yeah, you can go. Oh, let me see your ID. And you got black people standing in the heat. One lady fell out as soon as I got there. But let the white ladies with the big hats just walk on through. They got black people following black people like they work at what's that store called? Banana Republic. When I first worked at Banana Republic, they said your job is to follow black people around the store. I said, but there's old white ladies over there stealing more than anybody. What about them? Down the harbor. And that's why the harbor failed, because it was never inviting to black people. Yeah, you can sit out there on the promenade. So big ups to P. David Bramble. Do a damn thing over.
Do you think it's going to become more inviting under the new structure?
I'll give him a bet on black. I'm going to give him a better chance than I give William Donald Schaefer and the Baltimore Development Corporation and them other people that dumped all of that Obama money downtown and none of it uptown, who closed our recreation centers, who put police on the front door. Little black kids don't want to see cops at the rec.
Well, when
and that was a black idea, I didn't agree with that one.
Well, Donnie, there were, when Harbor Place first opened, there were several black vendors there. I mean, people, when I say black, and I admit I'm using the term loosely as well, but there were several stores there that that were owned by or claimed to be owned by black people. All of them failed. All of them failed. But not just the black stores, but the white, but the white stores failed also. Harbor Place failed as an institution, as an entity. It failed. It's been before the court approved the Bramble deal. Before Scott approved the Bramble deal, Harbor Place had been in disarray and deterioration for almost 20 years.
Soon as that black man bought it, then all these, oh, it's gonna change the harbor. Shut the hell up. Give me a damn wreck in West Baltimore, right there off North Avenue and Curry Street somewhere. We got a new wreck in K Hill, a new wreck in Cherry Hill. Put a new wreck in the neighborhoods that are on the news for the murders every damn day.
Here's the problem, Donnie. It's not recreation centers. It's not harbor. The problem is a person making minimum wage has to work 4 hours to earn enough money to fill the gas tank. That's the problem. That's the problem. And unless you address that, all you're doing is tilting at windmills. You're rearranging the chairs on the deck of a boat called the Titanic. You're putting out the fire in the kitchen when the house is burning down. If I can use, I can't think of any more metaphors right now. But the fact of the matter is, if we, you can't get to wealth. In most cases, you can't get to wealth without income coming first. And if you don't improve the income, for most people, black or white, if you don't improve the income, you're never going to get to wealth. So when you talk about removing or reducing the racial wealth gap, if you're not talking about increase, and now why is income so important? Because the income is what allows the family to maintain its desired structure and interactive relationships. If you don't increase the income, then the family can't survive. Without the family, civilization is not far behind. With the demise of the family, it won't be long before civilization, as we would appreciate it, as we would have it be, will soon demise, will soon go away. And we won't even recognize. We'll get into we won't recognize what marriage is anymore. We won't recognize what it means to be accomplished. We won't recognize. I mean, we won't recognize the world. We'll live in a world where Donald Trump can become president.
Y'all got any thoughts on this Passe Blanc? You know what Passe Blanc is, Danny?
What is it?
So my mama was real light-skinned. My daddy was dark-skinned. Passe Blanc is a black person passing as white. Passe Blanc.
Who's doing that? Who's trying to pass?
The Pope.
Well, the Pope. The Pope has black in him. So
no, he ain't got black in him. The Pope is black. That's America. One drop of black blood, he's black.
He's black.
Damn, why are they so ashamed? Now you're ashamed to be black. Meanwhile, you get your lips all fattened up. Do they put needles in the nose too to make them fatter? Needles in the butt? Suntans? But you don't like black people. But you trying to look like black people. Okay. Oh, okay.
Chris Rock said, I remember I was listening to what do you call these things on TikTok? Where Chris Rock said, not to an audience that I guess there had to be a few white folks in it. He said, not one of you white people in here would change places with me, and I'm rich. Right? Not one of you would trade place. Not one of you would be black for a day, even if you had my money. And that's true. And that's true. And but it's true for black people too.
Now, slow down.
It's true. Let me say it. Go ahead.
Would you trade your blackness for whiteness?
That's the other question. How many black people, if they could be white, would give up everything that they think is important to them today. And I'm convinced that it's a majority, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness.
I'm convinced that it's still a majority.
Mr. Bob, I was listening to a show where you said you was mad at God.
Yeah.
Growing up.
Yeah.
You told your grandmama, if God loved me, why didn't he make me white?
He'd have made me white if he loved me.
But at some point, that thinking changed, I imagine.
It for two reasons. Number one, I came to realize that no matter how much I prayed for it, it wasn't going to happen. That's number one. That's number one, as practical reality. And number two, I realized why I educated myself and began to get an education about why I felt that way in the first place.
Now, why was that?
Because I'd been taught that everything black was bad. I'd been taught that the black dog, that I should pick the white dog over the black dog. I had been taught, I'd been enculturated in the public education system, which was more than just it wasn't just to teach me that 2 + 2 was 4, or how to conjugate a verb, or the difference between an adjective and an adverb. It was to teach me who I was and what my place was in this world.
In the summer, Mr. Bob, I tried to stay in the sun as long as I could to get as dark as I could in the summer.
Well, the truth is, if it hadn't been for some friends of mine that walked into the drugstore when I had that jar of Natnola cream or whatever you called it back in that day, if my friends hadn't walked in and I'd been too ashamed to have them see what I was about to purchase, and I put it down, I could have probably looked like Michael Jackson.
Concoline rules the world. Hair grease never dies. Danny, you know what concoline is?
Concoline.
Danny's too young for that. That's the stuff that James Brown and everybody used to put in their hair.
You talking about processed hair?
Yeah. That's what it was.
And I think that was something that he asked Al Sharpton to never stop processing his hair. And Al Sharpton hasn't stopped processing his hair.
Well, Danny, in the modern era, we called it Jerry curl. That's what it is. It's just another form of concoline. That's what it was.
And sisters deal with it on a regular basis. When I see sisters from Africa and they got hair, they got white women's hair on. My heart is broken. And I know black men can't say nothing about black women's hair. I get it. But when I see a sister looking like a white girl, I'm like, what happened to the beautiful image of a black woman in a bush?
Yeah, beautiful image.
They tell us to shut up because we don't know what a woman goes through with her hair. I'll take a bald-headed woman over all of this Marilyn Monroe. And a lot of what black men don't know is white women wear weaves more than black women.
Well,
didn't know that, did you?
Our women were not supposed to be. You weren't supposed to look like a black woman because that would make you look angry and like an angry black woman. That's why Katanga Jackson couldn't speak up during the Senate confirmation hearings, although she didn't need a single Republican vote to be confirmed. She couldn't show her blackness because she couldn't show her anger because that would appear too black.
But white people can show their racial hatred.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they can teach it to their children.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, they do.
It's and it's reinforced. See, what you've accomplished your goal when you no longer have to teach it. You let the system you've created teaches it for you. You've accomplished your goal when you can remove the physical chain because you know the dog ain't gonna go but so far, ain't gonna leave the yard anyway.
Woo! My dog even caught on to that one. That reminds me of the story of the elephant. They put a little rope around the elephant. And the elephant ain't going nowhere. Come on. Come on, we talking to Mr. Bob and Danny. Go ahead, Danny.
You know, my thing is that we just, I mean, and it's a hurtful thing because we say it over and over and over again that if we only came together, if we only worked together, if we only supported one another, you know, where would we be? We would be so much further than we are as a race. When
Andy,
is that
the
ever
white
going to
man's
change?
ice is colder. That's what they grew up teaching black people. The white man's ice is colder. That's why we pay white political consultants 2 and 3 times as much as we pay black political consultants. Where a black political consultant would have told Kamala Harris, what, Andy?
Money in the street.
Why?
Hire your people.
Why?
Hire your people.
Because
Hire
if you
the
don't
people who
hire
want to
black
support
people,
you.
if you don't hire black people, what happened to your campaign signs, Andy?
You know, if you don't hire the right people, your campaign sign is going to end up in a dump in Georgia, still wrapped up and packaged, like straight from the printer straight to the trash. You're gonna have people who are out here wearing your shirts, running around, not knocking, not doing what they need to do, hanging out, doing everything but collecting a check. You know, like let's put it like the Harris campaign paid hundreds of millions of dollars and got exactly what they paid for. Like,
so Andy, how did you feel when the Haitians coming across the border were met by men on horseback? Because we seem to forget about that. I see these South Africans coming in who were over there raping South Africa, Soweto, Joburg. Then they come to America like they went through some damn struggle.
looking for asylum.
That they come to America to begin the process of repopulating the white race in America. That's why they were brought here. That, I mean, you know, and it wasn't just what happened in Haiti. You know, we had to wait to get on the bus in Ukraine when the Russians invaded. We had to wait. We had to wait till all the white folk boarded before they would even let us on the bus in Ukraine. But yet our dollars are going to Ukraine like everybody else's dollars. You know, and but we don't hear we rarely hear, and I say rarely only because I don't spend 24 hours. I can't spend 24 hours a day listening to every news broadcast. But somebody can tell me how many times we've heard black media or black politicians talk about that issue. Talk about the fact that even that how much black tax dollars are going to Ukraine, when in fact, even in Ukraine, we had to wait to get on the bus and get in the back at that. So you know, you know what the question for me is, and the reason that I'm up this morning is not so much certainly not to try to relive the past, and certainly not to be overwhelmed by what is happening. But the question for me is, and for all of us is, where do we go from here? How do we begin the process? And to me, Danny, the ultimate question is not really going to be black or white. It's going to be an allocation of resources. It's going to be green. If black folk are if the world is going to change, we're not just the people who start the change. We have to lead the change, and we have to lead it for all the poor people, not just black, but poor white. And that's the mistake we've made politically. When we try to form coalitions, with the white folk who are the so-called leaders of their community, when the poor people are like us. I could go to the pig town or somebody else and say, look, you can hate me because I'm black, but that ain't going to change the fact that your kids are just as dumb as mine because they're in the same public school system. You can hate me because I'm black, but that ain't going to change the fact that your $7 an hour minimum wage don't buy any more for you than my $7 minimum wage does. When we start forming coalitions at that level, of course, every black man who's talked like that, who's in a position to implement that, has been killed. We know that. But that's part of the price that you have to pay. If you really want, because it's our mission. It's our mission to lead the world, not just black people.
Now, you told me Bob Douglas told you that. You told him to kick rocks.
No, Bob Douglas never told me that.
Who was it in East Baltimore that told you that you can't get minority business enterprise passed if you don't bring in white people?
That's a whole different issue.
It's the same thing.
No. The minority business program was intended as a remedy specifically for black people. We didn't call it that.
But then it got flipped.
Oh yeah. Well, it did get. You say flipped.
You said it was a black politician that told you.
That's right.
You got to bring along the non-black people. Unless you just said the same thing.
No, I didn't. Let me say it again. I hope you can understand it this time. What I said was, if we're going to change the world that black people are intended to be, we were assigned the task of leading everybody in the right direction, black and white. The MBE program, on the other hand, ostensibly, purportedly, was designed as a part of a remedy specifically for black people. What politically they said was, we can't get a law passed that's intended specifically and expressly and solely for the benefit of black people. So we got to dilute it and let some white folks share in it, and let some non-black people share in it.
I was out at that Preakness, and the Preakness, the governor had a booth on the inside next to Afro Preak.
Yeah.
And the people were standing on the security guard. Oh, you can't. Let me see your badge. You can't get in there. And I'm saying, hold up. Aren't these my tax dollars paying for this damn tent? But here's the other thing, and I want to tell you something. I'm talking about black gatekeepers. Repeat after me. Black gatekeepers. All right, hold that thought. So I'm thinking, if some nuclear stuff break out and we got to get to the bunker, it's going to be a Negro at the door, and we're going to bust his damn head and tell him move out the way and let our people in this bunker. That's what I foresee.
No, he's going to be standing outside the bunker too, by the way. He's not going to be inside the bunker keeping us out. He's going to be outside the bunker telling us we can't go in.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference. And that difference has a distinction.
Mm-hmm. Who going to be working at the bunker, Danny?
That's
Ruben
for sure.
Amaya? Y'all gonna put Ruben Amaya on the door this time too?
No, kid, leave the kid alone.
Who's that?
No.
Who's that?
I heard what came out of Ruben's mouth. And it wasn't the same humble kid that the blacks in the 10th legislative district first introduced me to. This was a totally different one. Now he's talking about the cartels.
Absolutely.
And what the Latinos went and the struggle they went through. The struggles of the Latinos.
You know, people.
Hold up, Bill.
People always. Yeah. People always put a front on until they get what they want, man.
See, everybody our friend until they get in.
That's right.
Everybody's our friend until they. And my real question, Danny, and you too, Mr. Bob, where are the young black people out Liberty Road? That's our upwardly mobile. You know, you meet somebody and they from Randallstown or Woodlawn, and you meet them in the city, and you're like, what high school did you go to? And then it comes out, Milford Mill, and you're like, hold up, you ain't from Baltimore, you from Baltimore County. And that's like you, Danny, being from Brooklyn, BK, and you meet somebody from, Buffalo. Buffalo ain't Brooklyn, even though Buffalo got rough. So I'm saying we got African Americans, we move beyond the Beltway. We don't go to Park Heights for jerk chicken anymore. We go to Island Cuisine on Liberty Road, $17. No, that was Tosh Unk. One piece of damn jerk chicken was $17. I said, y'all lost y'all damn mind out here. Give me a bunch of rice and beans for $20.
Yeah, no, Yakuman and ketchup.
Oh, that's the Chinese joint on the corner. Liberty Road and Old Court. What's the name of that spot, Danny? The Red Joint. They open at 3 a.m.
Liberty and Old Court. I'm trying to think.
Where the Giant was. Right across the street. They sell that shrimp toast. Come on, Dad. Stop playing like you
No,
don't know.
on a seriously, point well taken. I've been fighting that fight, and I do have someone that I'm mentoring, and as I told you on shows prior, to come on to the Central Committee. But far as why we aren't mentoring, having meetings, we have a 10th District Democratic Club that hasn't been active in I don't know how many years. That was
Why?
Well, the folks that are running it aren't doing it.
I thought you was in charge of everything out there, State Central Committee.
No, man, no.
That's why we brought you in, Brooklyn. You'd have let
Yeah.
these cats get soft out Liberty Road. But you know what? Let me tell you what we do have in common, Mr. Bob. Watch this. Watch this. Everybody doing this these days.
What?
What's that? A fan?
Oh
God!
I got my boots on the ground.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's HIT.
You're right. That's sad. Yep.
Golden Dragon. That's it. Thank you, greatest cleaners. Golden Dragon. You know y'all been there. 3 o'clock in the morning, soaking up that Hennessy. Like they don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The golden. Yeah, it was
Golden Dragon, Tom's. Don't forget Tom's. You know that they have. I don't know. Yeah, things have changed.
That's why you want to get black people to vote. Go get the damn DJ and buy some fans. Sure, chunk. So definitively, but we won't show up for a PTA meeting.
That's right.
We'll show up for boots on the ground, but our kids can't read.
You ain't never lied, Donnie.
Wait till you get the church version. Get on out of your seat.
Well,
give me some watermelon and some fried chicken, and that's why Ruben Amaya is in charge.
Now, no, listen. I can go along with everything, but don't you raise a disparaging word against fried chicken and watermelon. Now you're gonna lose me if you start doing that, because the fried chicken and watermelon are a staple. Well, I eat the fried chicken with my fingers.
And that's why the Pakistanis selling hip hop fried chicken.
You know what? You know what, Donnie? You know the days I miss now is Ken Oliver's fish fries. Those fish fries, people were speaking about the community. They were speaking about they would speak about everything that was of great concern of importance out in the 4th Councilmatic District, and they were having a good time, but they still was political. There was political there. So
yeah, Ken Oliver told me black people didn't drink coffee. That's why we couldn't have a Starbucks in the old record theater at the corner of Liberty and Croydon Road. Yeah, when I was trying to deal with Magic Johnson to put one of his Starbucks there, Ken said black people don't drink, they ain't gonna pay that much for coffee.
Yes, they will.
Of course they would. That was the last comment. Yeah, of course we will.
Forgive them because that's not true. Just like them big box stores, we buy everything that anybody else buy, but
that's right.
Racism precludes them from putting it. And Ken did give him credit. He brought Walmart, Home Depot, and a sit-down restaurant to Liberty Road and money for the Liberty Resource Center. He messed up on the Starbucks.
What sit-down restaurant?
It was the
now it's More Than Crabs. What's the name of it?
Yeah, it was. That's right. It was that restaurant. As a matter of fact, I did the groundbreaking there. Sure
It was, but it's no more.
Yep, that was what it was. He did bring that there.
It was, but it's no more.
There's no more. It's just crabs or something.
Right.
And they have a party there. They doing boots on the ground there, Donnie.
Well, that's where y'all need to have your damn voter registration, and you need to get young black people involved in the process. We moved out there and we got soft.
You gotta make a place for them. You gotta make a place for them. Gotta make a place for young black Democrats if we want them to be participating. Gotta make a space for them. You gotta give them trajectory. You gotta give them access.
And we got to teach them that being politically involved don't mean you have to be a Democrat or a Republican.
Well, beyond that, being politically involved has to have a value to them.
Of course it does. Just like Joe Lieberman had a value, just like Manchin had a value. Neither one of them was a Democrat, but the Democrats had to pay a price for their support. Why can't we employ that strategy? Why do we have to be a Democrat in order to get Democratic support for our candidates?
Mr. Bob, I want you to educate us on this thing that happened. I was a little young boy, but when Glenn Denham was in office, what did Kurt Schmoke and Wayne Curry do?
You're gonna have to ask somebody else. I can't even roll the tape back that far. Too early in the morning.
My understanding is that Glenn Denham wanted to get reelected, but Kurt Schmoke and Wayne Curry in Prince George's County, the first black county exec down there,
right,
did not fall in line with what he needed. They held back. They held back their vote. And Glenn Denham got real itchy with him. But it was, to my knowledge, one of the first times black people leveraged Annapolis. And I will say that the Republicans made the Democrats up their game, because that had not been for Bob Early, a spear thrower for Newt Gingrich, to choose Michael Steele, there would be no Anthony Brown.
There would be no what?
Anthony Brown.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then the Republicans doubled down and gave us Boyd Rutherford, a real black man.
Yeah.
I've not met anybody that said Boyd was full of SHIT.
No,
Michael Steele. Michael
for
Steele
real.
makes me proud still today.
Michael Steele, yes, Michael Steele. That's right. He's very relevant.
Yeah.
He took over Joyce Reed's spot. He took Joyce Reed's spot.
He didn't talk that way when he was in office.
No, he didn't. No.
The Michael Steele that you see today on MSNBC is not the same Michael Steele who was the lieutenant governor on the Bob Early.
100%. 100%. That's right. He isn't.
He was. He just masked it.
Right. Okay. Well, okay.
That's
like Anthony Brown, Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown, and the Anthony Brown we got now, two different monsters. This Anthony Brown is flagged out. He's confident.
But this Anthony Brown had to tap into his blackness.
He sure did, because when he got wiped out by Hogan, it's because he thought that just because he was a Democrat, he was just going to slide in there. But he forgot he was connected to who? Martin O'Malley. And he didn't come out, and he didn't campaign.
The reality check came when Katie O'Malley jumped in that race and said he wasn't even a real lawyer. Damn, that's how you felt about me
this whole time.
Damn,
the whole time.
Smiling in your face.
Damn.
The question is, tell me how you
really
out
of your seat.
Surprise.
Get
that's the thing that we like to give folks the benefit of the doubt until the knife is on our back. Then we're like, oh my God, I just didn't know. You should have never trusted it to begin with. Like, hey, arm length, baby. You here? We're not gonna do you arm's length.
We believe that unlike everybody else who took the frozen snake home and warmed it up, we believe we can do it and the snake ain't gonna bite us. It bit everybody else, but it ain't gonna bite me.
It's not all of them. It's not all of them that'll bite you. You know, not all of them. Some of them are different.
Yeah, they are. Someone bite deep, and someone bite continuous.
You can see him like when the primary comes to.
Some of them might be poisonous.
Man, you should see when the primary election comes, and they all come out to the Randallstown Community Center. I'm talking about all these cats come out there. Yeah, Doni was out there. He was out there when Rutherford and all those cats was out there. I mean, it's like you can see them, man. It's like you can tell what they're there for. And you'll never see him again.
Why did the Reparations Commission bill get vetoed? Because we ain't got much time. We already passed the time. Did you ask that question?
Yes. Why did it get vetoed?
The reparations.
Gibson wrote an editorial in the Baltimore Banner saying it should be vetoed. Said we should not wait. We don't need no more damn studies. Do it now.
I'm with that. I'm with that.
Well, the question is, do what? But so why did this? Why was the commission? Why was the creation of the commission vetoed?
Oh, well, pressure.
From who?
He was pressured.
From who?
The Republicans.
Hmm.
Barry O'Connell is on Facebook praising Don Moore, saying it's a brilliant move. Barry O'Connell does everything to want to be black. Does he have a black girlfriend on the slide?
Now wait a minute. You got we got to spend. I don't know how much time you got here, but let's spend a minute. I need to be educated on this. Somebody explain to me this brilliant strategy that promoted. I heard somebody say promoted by the Republicans. This brilliant strategy to be and the objective and the outcome to be achieved by the veto of the Reparations Commission bill. So explain that, break that down, and put it to me. Give it to me like I'm a third grader. Come on, explain it to me.
I can't.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Jack, that honestly, I want to see what happens. I'm gonna see what I want to see what happens with this whole thing. I don't know what to expect, honestly.
You know the Black Caucus, McCaskill. Her name is McCaskill. She's a delegate from 44B. Yes, under Senator Signor. She was someone who, when she got to Annapolis, she was pushing the reparations. So they kind of the first time they didn't even get it on the floor. Then the next time, the caucus sent her back to do it again, and she became. Was she the sponsor or the co-sponsor? I think she was the sponsor or co-sponsor of that.
All right, let me give you the skinny. This is from Larry Gibson. The Maryland General Assembly passed the bill to create a commission to study the legacy of slavery in Maryland and to issue in December 2027 a report recommending reparatory measures for descendants of slaves. Larry Gibson urged Governor Westmore to veto this legislation as redundant, distracting, an excuse for delay, and too little too late. He said, "We have already repeatedly studied the problem." He said he was the chairman of the most recent commission on the legacy of slavery in Maryland. He said they produced some informative publications, as did 2 prior state commissions. He says he's taught and written about slavery and its consequences for more than 50 years, having joined a host of teachers, writers, artists, producing reports, books, exhibits. He's saying we did all that. We do not need another 2 years of study with a black governor, a black attorney general, and a progressive legislature. Let me add, the largest black legislature in the country. He said what we need is action, bold, targeted action. Another study with a minuscule budget would just kick the damn can down the road. He said we must not accept excuses about money. Maryland is a wealthy state consistently ranked 3rd. He said we must aggressively address foundational structures. Final words, vetoing this reparations study might be politically difficult, but we elected Governor Moore to make difficult decisions, not just say the easy ones. He and the legislators should proceed with urgency and every tool they have or can create to address the consequences of slavery. Governor Moore should also commit to issuing regular reports, at least quarterly, identifying concrete reparatory actions taken by his administration. Get up out of y'all seat. Does that make sense, Mr. DeShield?
Yes and no. Yes, there have been studies. No, there has never been a study that came out with a specific recommendation for legislative or other action to implement what the studies found. So, yeah.
How many of the studies came with a commission attached to it?
Yeah, none that I'm aware of. But the point, everything's a matter of timing. A study of course, the question is, what does reparations mean? How is it? Who are the really to be the beneficiary? How is it to be distributed? How much is enough? And how do you implement it? Those are the issues that I thought this new commission would be engaged in. This is not just a study of the legacy of slavery. Larry's right. We don't. I think we know enough about the legacy of slavery. But what we ought to know is that slavery wasn't limited to physical bondage. We ought to know something about the slavery that was manifested by the theft of intellectual property as well as physical labor. We ought to know about those. We ought to know about all the companies that have been and still today are benefiting from. We ought to know about the children of those that now claim to sit on high places and high boards, looking down upon us, saying we're going to still give you 10 or 15%. We ought to know that those studies were commissioned at a time when civil rights simply consisted of being accepted in the white man's world. And that is why nothing has changed.
Or is it because, like this guy says, West don't want to mess up his next race? He want to get reelected.
Well, I think it's yet to be seen what effect this will have in the black community. I think that I think that the government, unless he hasn't been observant, the black vote, while we may not be the majority of voters, it's difficult to think of winning a statewide election in Maryland without substantial support from the black community. So, in other words, I think that he recognizes that the black vote is necessary to win. So the question is, will this veto have any effect upon that? And that I don't know.
Oh no, because the mainstream news is not going to cover it, and it's not going to make it an issue. And that's why we got black news.
Yeah.
Everybody comes on this show sooner or later. We even had Barry O'Connell on.
Well, the interesting thing, Donnie, is I think it's on Juneteenth, the governor is saying he's going to travel to the Eastern Shore. I think I read somewhere there's travel to the Eastern Shore and announce his plan for eliminating the racial wealth gap. And I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'm extremely anxious to see what's in that plan, because as I say, if it does not address income, which I think is a prerequisite to wealth for most people, if it doesn't address how you're going to increase income of those who don't have it, and income not just of black folk but of all poor people, if it doesn't address those, then I think it will be as successful as whatever prior efforts we've seen.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen? Andy, I really expected you to be more vocal today. I thought you were really pissed off that Ufoma lost.
Oh, I'm pissed. I'm pissed, but I want answers. I want data and I want answers before I go all the way off.
Are you the only one that wants answers? Where are the other black people? Where's Sharonda Hoffman? Where's Ufoma? Do we stop answering the phones?
Ufoma could only say but so much. She still got a day job.
That sounds like the same thing they accused Trump of. This sounds like Nazi Germany. I'm not understanding. I thought we were free. You telling me we are conditionally free. You're free as long as you don't say nothing.
You're free but muzzled.
That ain't free.
Muzzled and corralled.
Well, what it says is, like everything else, there's a price for freedom.
That sounds like home detention.
And everybody got to decide for themselves how much they're willing to pay.
CJ got the final word. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. I appreciate you. Good morning, world.
Right.